What's up, guys? This is Scaling 101, and we're going to be talking about taking your agency from 6 figures to 7 figures, that all-important switch. And there are 6 things that you need to know exactly, and you're going to want to stay tuned to find out exactly what they are. So let's get into it. All right, guys, we are talking about going from 6 to 7 figures. By the way, for those of you guys who don't know me already, my name's Frankie Finn. I wrote this best-selling book on Amazon, Beyond the Agency Box. Also built 3 of my own agencies up to 100 plus clients. And also, I've helped thousands of people worldwide to live this whole agency, more beach, less laptop. Let's talk scaling. This is going to be especially useful for those of you guys who are starting to make good money, and now you want to take that to the next realm and do great money. Now, the number one thing that I see stops people from scaling is a tight niche. And what I mean by that, by the way, just to give you guys an example of 2 different agencies of having done this bad and done this really well. In my first agency, we were mostly a plastic surgery SEO agency. I did white label even before it was a term. And what ended up happening is my ideal client was really anybody with a credit card. It kind of felt sacrilegious when somebody came in the door to turn away money. And I didn't realize that about 75% of our deliverable was on point, and 25% was a little here and a little there and a little all over place. And it was that 25% that actually caused me all the misery and all the headaches. I compare it to like when McDonald's was first scaling, all they sold were burgers. In fact, Amazon, when they're first scaling, all they sold were books. Now, these companies look very different today, but during the scaling process, simple scales. Now, my second agency, we ran Facebook ads for personal injury attorneys. And I think when we got to maybe like our first 20 clients, what was really interesting is if I would figure out one ad that worked on a client account, we would just copy and paste that to like, I don't know, 20 other accounts, right? So it made it super, super easy because we didn't always have to be reinventing the wheel. We weren't constantly doing things. We were just doing burgers for everybody. And yeah, we tweaked it a little bit. Somebody wanted extra cheese, somebody wanted extra onions, but it was a very tight deliverable. And you'll know you have this right when, if you go to sign your next client, you're pretty much 90% finished even before it begins. Now that leads me into number 2, and that is the high value deliverable. Let's call that the high value D. No dirty minds out there. And if you do have a dirty mind, make sure to use the Schwartz.
You have the ring, and I see your Schwartz is as big as mine. Now let's see how well you handle it.
So it should go without saying that if you want to scale this, like, you actually have to be delivering real value for clients. I see so many people come to me and they're interested in what they can get. How can I make 100K per month? How can I reach 200K per month or whatever? But in order to do that, you're going to have to deliver more value than you actually receive. And I find it a better focus to focus on that old high value D. Again, no dirty minds out there. And I'll tell you the easiest way to do that, I call this the $100 bill, is simply to find out what your client's most expensive thing that they wish they could sell more of, and help them sell more of it. So this is a little bit different for everybody, right? Like if there's an online coach, they may have a $27 course and a $40,000 mastermind. Which one of those do you think they want to sell more? Or if you're dealing with a roofer, they may have a $97 or $99 go fix a leak at a house for $100, or they may get a $400,000 commercial roofing job. Now, which of those do you think they want to get most, right? So you want to focus your deliverable if at all possible. And that's not the only way to do it, but I'll tell you, it makes life a lot easier if you sell their most expensive thing, because you'll have this magic thing where you have margins where then you can spend money to go get them. Now let's talk about the third thing. That is, you have to position for the kind of clients you want on purpose. A lot of times when you're just at 6 figures, you got a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and that's all cool. But that's actually the very thing that'll limit you from scaling. As mentioned earlier, simple scales, complexity does not. And so you have to kind of like be almost ruthless. And like I said, in the early stages, especially like getting to 6 figures, it felt sacrilegious to turn money away. When you get to the 7-figure mark, you almost have to be ruthless about this. And what you would find is that you can really focus on the clients that you really want to get in your agency. I'll give you guys another cheat code on this. Almost universally, the types of clients who are the biggest pain in the ass, regardless of industry, are single solo operators, not because they're not good people. They simply lack the teams and systems and processes. I'll give you again, tale of two attorneys I worked with. I think of a guy named Ron who was in San Diego. Nice guy, really liked him. We sent him some leads. He would sometimes call them himself. He would take a day and a half. Sometimes it would be paralegal. Nobody really followed up with the leads. They didn't know what to say. They fumbled and bumbled. Half the time they didn't reach them. Not surprisingly, what did Ron say at the end of our service? Your leads are shit. You guys may have heard that from some of your clients, and almost always that comes from the single solos. Now, running the exact same ads, exact same campaigns for a lawyer named Greg in Corpus Christi, and they have teams, they have systems, they have a CRM, they follow up with leads every 6 times. They have a rule that they respond to email forms within 3 minutes. Everybody's trained to close. And they also meet regularly to review the numbers and get better at closing those calls. Who do you think did better with those leads? So you want to position for the Gregs of the world, because those are the people who are actually going to stay and pay over the long term. I used to think in the beginning, by the way, this is all about saving people. I wanted to turn a business around and kind of save them with my marketing, be like a hero. I played too much fucking Legend of Zelda. But this is really more about helping winners win more. In fact, the crazy stat, I was looking at Gordon Ramsay. I don't know if any of you guys watch Gordon Ramsay. I'm sure you guys know who he is, at least. He has a show called Kitchen Nightmares. He goes into struggling restaurants and he gives them his magic touch. He gives them his food. He makes over the restaurant. They get the publicity of Gordon being in there. A year later, guess how many of those businesses are still active? 5%. That means 19 out of 20 of them fail. If Gordon Ramsay can't turn losers into winners, neither can you. So I say this, you want to really think about helping winners to win more. And these are usually bigger companies that have teams and already invest into marketing and into sales and have some kind of CRM. All right, we had a nice little outtake there. So let's talk 4 and 5 because they go hand in hand. And I'm going to put them together. And they are systems and teams, or in other words, people. I'll give you my philosophy. Which one of these should you build first, by the way, systems or teams? This is an important thing because I think if you get this wrong, you make your life a lot harder. I think that if McDonald's was dependent on finding a great chef to run every restaurant, they would be fucked. Very fucked. But instead, they're able to get by with a little pimply faced 16-year-old teenager because they have great systems. McDonald's really, say what you want about their burgers, haven't eaten there in 20 years, but they have world-class burger systems, right? They can clone their system almost anywhere in the world, and any pimply-faced teenager can do it. This is how you want your agency to be set up. There's probably between 5 and maybe 15 things that you do that really actually produce results for clients, including the reporting and the updating. You want to have systems and have all of those things step-by-step documented into what is known as an SOP. And by the way, I would recommend not doing this alone. Which brings me to the point of, obviously you want great people. A lot of times people come to me and they want to solve some problem in their business. They say, man, I wish I could just hire somebody. And I'm not saying that doesn't work, but I'll tell you what is a lot easier is building a system that anybody can do that has step-by-step instructions and then bring in good people who are then able to execute it. We find that, like, with virtual assistants and stuff like that, I don't bat 1,000. It's not like every virtual assistant I've ever hired works out. But when I have great systems, like 80% of the hires that we have work out. When we lack those systems, like 1-2% of the people work out. So the key with teams and finding good people, I'll give you a secret on this, which is screen, 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 screen. So you want to put in place some kind of hoop and test that people are going to have to jump through. Perry Marshall, by the way, best-selling author in our entire industry, says that he calls this the audition. It's very, very simple. If you had a band and you were thinking of playing some music together, you wouldn't say, well, tell us about your last 5 bands and can we call your references and let's have an interview together. No, that's stupid, right? You get out the fucking guitars and you play a song. And if you guys make good music together, you make more music. And if you don't, you don't. Well, think about your hiring as that. Now, for example, we're doing a crypto project right now. We're part of a crypto launch. And one of the things is we needed some VAs to help with the promotion and distribution of the actual coin. And one of the things is one of the people said, hey, can we just bring in a great person who can take care of this? In my experience, it hasn't been like that. But once we documented the systems, well, all we had to do is basically the person was just searching for communities that allow you to post about these things and joining those communities and post. So we simply made a couple of systems. We documented how to find those communities, and we documented how to take our content and post it. Well, once we did that, we're able to screen for people and actually give them a trial assignment on the very thing they're actually going to be doing. And then, of course, no guarantees that you'll hit about 1,000, but 80% of the time you end up with a good hire. Which leads me to the last piece, and this is the piece that's going to affect your retention the most, and I call this the wow factor. What do I mean by that is, I'll never forget, this is a story, by the way, my first consulting, I had a lawyer in Jacksonville. There's two brothers. They are the most successful lawyers by far in that area. And, they spend big money. They're all over TV. And they asked me to come out and consult with them because they weren't sure their SEO company was working. Now, I asked them how much their SEO company was paying them. And they said $10,000 a month. I said, how long have you had them? They said 10 years. I'm good at math, so I did it really quickly. I said, that's $120,000 per year. For 10 years, it's 1.2 million. Now, here's the kicker of this story. Not once in that entire fucking time did they ever rank. Ever. So they were paying for SEO that didn't work ever. And I asked the guy, and this is a guy who's already the biggest spender, so he spends the most amount of TV, has the most amount of media, has the most amount of PR, has the most amount of content. It was kind of an easy way to win in SEO, and they weren't. And I asked him, how come you kept this person for so long? And he said, his answer will never not surprise me. He said, well, to be honest, he's my golfing buddy. We go golfing every Friday. This is the point that if you want clients to stay with you for a long time, it's about intentionally building in that wow factor. We just had Joey Coleman on our channel. I really recommend you read his best-selling book, Never Lose a Customer Again. One of the things that Joey said is retention and keeping people can be engineered by doing little above and beyond unexpected touches. So for example, one of the things that we do is whenever a new client signs up, we have edible arrangements, send brownies and things like that and cookies. They also do like baskets of fruit, but we don't actually, even though that's what they're known for, that's not what we use them for. They're just lightning fast. And we also use a service called Handwritten and send a thank you card. So when a client joins from us, immediately 3 hours later, there's a knock at the door. And edible arrangements is crazy fast, often same day. They get a knock at the door and they're like, did you guys do something? And then, hey, it's cookies and brownies. And there's a thank you note saying, hey, we're so honored to have you. And then a week later, they get a handwritten thank you note in the mail that says, like, our entire team's really excited. We're just really honored to have you. Those are little touches in the wow factor that make clients really believe you care. I'll tell you, like, things like gifts, like pictures that are family, personalized gifts. If you personalize, by the way, personalize with their shit, not your shit. Don't put your logos and stuff like that. Nobody wants to walk around. Make them think of themselves, not of you. And every time they look at it, they'll remember you. But these are the 6 things if you put them together. You have the opposite of not doing these things is you do have a tight niche, meaning your process is repeatable. It's very high value, so like clients genuinely want to pay for it. You're positioned for the kind of clients that would best benefit from that. You have a system in place to repeat that outcome. You have teams and people to do it. And then there's little above and beyond extra touches, which are really just systems in and of themselves. But they're different kinds of systems. They're different than your delivery and fulfillment and those kind of things. And if you put all those together, what you'll find for most people, just by the way, a little bit of math, is I would say the average agency deliverable is like $2K a month. They go higher than that. We have people doing $70K a month, but let's just say it's $2K a month, is you really only need 42 people. So that means if you simply just add 1 client a week for a year and have all of these things built in, you will hit 7 figures in less than 1 calendar year. So I hope that's super helpful to you guys, because I know sometimes like when you're doing 6 figures, you're doing well, but you start having all these like kind of problems that nobody else can understand. You kind of like get trapped in your own machine, and there's like 52 different things you got to worry about in a day. You know, there's software and there's tools and there's teams and systems and clients you got to update, and meetings and Zoom meetings, and you're checking your phone and Facebook ads and Google updates and on and on and on. But if you organize it where you're doing less but better, and then doing that at scale, what you'll find is in repeating those things that your system will scale. And by the way, I found out from doing this, it's actually harder to have 5 clients not doing this than it is to have 50 doing this. Because what happens is you're really not doing 50 things. You're just doing one thing 50 times, and you're repeating it over and over. The same way that Starbucks just makes coffee over and over, or McDonald's makes burgers, especially in the early days. As where if you're doing a little too much, I compare it to like kind of like catering, where or maybe not catering, like a restaurant where somebody comes in and says, do you guys make pizza? And then you say, yeah, we do. And then you have to figure out the pizza oven, and you got to figure out the special flour. And then the next day somebody said, do you make Chinese food? Now you got to go shop at the Asian market. And when you do burgers and only burgers, what will happen is you're just doing the same thing over and over and over and over. In fact, you were pretty much done the burger when they walked in. The only change is that they say, can I get an extra slice of cheese? Sure. Slap the cheese on and send it out the door. So you want to think about that, because these are the things that either will make or break your journey to going from 6 to 7 figures. I have seen a few small exceptions where people are exceptional operators and can get by violating one or two of these rules. But by and large, most of them, and I know lots and lots of people doing 7 figures, and some actually doing 8 and 9 figures. And by and large, these are pretty much the rules they all follow. So hope that's helpful to you guys. If you're not already subscribed, make sure to subscribe.
Hey guys, if you like this video, you'll also like my book on Amazon called Beyond the Agency Box, which you can also find by my name, Frankie Finn, and it's got a lot of awesome reviews, and it really just goes deeper on a lot of things we're talking about, everything you need to grow and start a lifestyle agency, from the stages you'll go through to getting clients, to how to create winning offers, to high value deliverables, to wowing clients, to building teams, to building systems, and building a boring factory that's like a 7-figure money machine for you. So if you're interested, I put links for you in the video description, as well as it'll be in the pinned top comment below, and make sure to check those out.